Welcome to Haunt Weekly. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment industry. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we are back, and this time that actually means something.
Yeah.
We are back in the great state of Louisiana, returning safely from our trip to the far reaches of Atlanta.
Not Atlantis.
No, not Atlantis. That would have been much more exciting.
Although, with as much rain that we had.
We might be in Atlantis. I don't know if I'd be jinxing that one yet, babe.
Yeah.
But yes, we are actually recording this way early so we can talk about things while they are fresh in our mind.
Right.
And while we are thinking about things. Because we have just returned from Atlanta and an absolutely bananas whirlwind trip
No kidding.
that saw us visit 9 different haunted attractions. We visited 8 in the Atlanta area.
Yeah.
Plus 1 on the way there.
Right. I was sitting here trying to count. Was it 9 or 10?
It's 9.
It was a lot.
We made it to 9, and we're going to discuss that. Now, I don't want this to be like a review episode.
Correct.
That's not really our goal. Like I said, we try to keep this podcast industry focused. We may do more, time allowing, we may do our more consumer-focused reviews at Garbage Horror.
Right.
We've done those in the past. But this is meant to be more industry-focused, so we're going to try to keep it to stuff that is relevant that way.
Yes.
Lessons we learned, thoughts we had, ideas we got, observations we made.
Right.
Things like that. Less reviewy, more chewy. I really didn't think that rhymed through.
No, you didn't. But that's
All
okay.
right.
We love you anyway.
And by the way, folks, we have spent about 6 hours of our life in the car listening to Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru podcast. So if we sound a little more Jim Cornette-y than usual, or cornier, I guess.
Yeah.
You understand why.
Yeah.
It'll probably be gone next week.
He did give you the idea to use tiny URL.
Yes, we are stealing one idea from the cult of Cornette.
Right.
Basically, we mentioned previously we have a YouTube channel now.
Yep.
And we gave you the information on how to get there in this bull because you can't really find it that way. So, here's what you actually do to get to the YouTube channel. You go to tinyurl.com/hauntweekly and it will transport you there magically.
Yay!
It is a beautiful, wonderful thing. Once again, that is tinyurl.com/hauntweekly. tinyurl.com, the only URL shortener you can actually say out loud and having sense on air.
Right.
So that's why we went with that one. Anyways, yes, tinyurl.com/hauntweekly. Go there, subscribe, catch up on episodes you might have missed. They are all there.
Yes.
You will enjoy yourself, I guarantee. Well, I'm okay. I guarantee or your money back. There's your guarantee.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, yeah, that's the main thing. They also continue to find us on Facebook as Haunt Weekly, on Twitter as Haunt Weekly. Like, follow, subscribe, share, whatever the hell the social media stuff is. Do all that. Keep up with us. We're also available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever fine podcasts are distributed.
Right, and if you were following us on Facebook, you saw all of our check-ins at all of the haunts, and you probably thought we were crazy.
Well, they weren't wrong, were they?
No. I didn't say they were.
They were not wrong. But yes, real fast, before we jump into our haunt tour of Atlanta, let's quickly do our conference reminders. It has been a week.
Right.
So I'll kick off. Starting up next week now. Coming up, actually, this weekend.
Yes, this weekend.
This weekend. It's the Sinister Creature Con at the Scottish Rite Center in Sacramento, California. Includes all things horror, including filmmakers, makeup, haunted attraction engineers, and actors. Sponsored in part by Cemeterium Haunted House and Dire World Scare Park. Featured guests include Ted Raimi, Scott McDonald, Marky Ramone, and Uwe Boll. Learn more at SinisterCreatureConSacramento.com for more.
Right, and then after season, November 9th through 11th, the legendary Haunt Tour in Philadelphia, PA, Crown Plaza, Philadelphia, touring Field of Screams, Bates Motel, and Haunted Hayride, Reaper's Revenge. Legendary Haunt Tour with 2Ts.com for more info on that.
And then coming to our neck of the woods, January 12th to the 15th, it's HauntCon / Halloween and Party Expo as we cover. Those two have merged to form a Frankenstein's monster of a conference that actually sounds pretty awesome. But yes, you can learn more at hauntcon.com. It'll be here in town in New Orleans. We are looking forward to meeting you guys. If you listen to this podcast, let us know.
And tickets did just go on sale this weekend for that, and they have announced some of the tours.
Yes, they will be touring Rise. I've not had a chance since we got back to update the notes. They are touring Rise,
right.
And they're also touring some local attractions.
Right.
And if I may, as a local, I hate to poop on a HauntCon, I'd skip that tour. Go to the haunts.
Yeah.
Just go to the haunts, kids.
Yeah.
You'll thank me.
Unless you've never ever been to New Orleans and just have to see, the things they're offering.
The things they've announced are Mardi Gras World,
right,
and the Museum of Death.
Right.
Mardi Gras World, if you are in New Orleans, you have a fascination with Mardi Gras and all that jazz, it's pretty fun. I won't lie. If you have an extreme interest in Mardi Gras and floats and all that, fine, great. It's pretty cool. Museum of Death is it's a tourist trap, guys. I'm going to be straight.
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about it on this podcast or not, but we actually visited it out of morbid curiosity.
Morbid being the operative word.
Exactly. And we were disappointed. So there's that.
It is not something I will return to, so that is not a tour I'll be on. But anyways, sorry.
Right. Sorry, we got sidetracked.
That happens a lot on this podcast.
Okay, so then March 22nd through 25th, we've got Transworld's Halloween and Attraction Show in St. Louis, Missouri at the America Center. You can find out more about that at the HA Show, HAAshow.com.
Then it's West Coast Haunters Convention in Portland, Oregon, April 13th through the 15th at the Doubletree Hotel, Portland. HauntersConvention.com for more.
All right. Then May 18th through the 20th, we have Halloween Show and National Haunters Convention presents Halloween Boardwalk Empire.
Breathe.
That is going to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
And we got until May to figure out how to actually say that in one breath.
I think I did pretty good.
You did, but it's like the domain for Sinister Creature Con.
Yeah.
By the time we get good at it, it'll be over.
Anyway, that one is going to be in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Showboat Convention Center, HalloweenShow.com for more info on that.
And then last on our calendars right now, taking it up to May, it is May 25th through the 27th. It's the Midwest Haunters Convention in Columbus, Ohio, at the Greater Columbus Convention Center. MidwestHauntersConvention.com. Be careful, that S is sneaking in there. .com. I have no idea where you would go if you just went to Midwest Haunter Convention. Probably the same place, honestly.
If they were smart.
If they were smart, it's the same place. But yes, we have spent, I believe, 3 nights touring haunted attractions all over the Atlanta area, including one in Birmingham.
4 nights.
It was 4 nights, okay.
Thursday, Friday,
I can't
Saturday,
count.
Sunday. Yeah, 4 nights. And Midwest Haunter Convention without an S is a dead page.
Oh, so go with the S, guys.
Yes. Or somebody buy it and,
and forward it there.
Yeah.
Somebody get on that. It won't be me.
Okay.
Not tonight, at least. But anyways,
Sorry,
yes.
back to the...
4 nights, 9 different attractions. And
yes.
The purpose of this tour for us was, we wanted to see a lot of new haunts.
Yes.
Because being here in New Orleans, it's very easy for us to get stuck in the House of Shock, the Rise, the 13th Gate, the haunts, that are local to us. And we try to branch out every year to new places, and it gets harder and harder because, like the haunts here are fairly spread out, is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's at least an hour's drive between any 2 major haunts.
Right.
Outside of like House of Shock and Mortuary, they're all at least an hour away.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating. But still. And also because I know that different regions haunt differently. We saw very different things in St. Louis when we did that tour 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, by the way, we did that.
Oh, okay.
Versus here in New Orleans. And I had a feeling, and I was correct, we would see different things in Atlanta than here in New Orleans.
Right.
And next year we're looking at either going to Chicago or Houston. It's going to depend upon money, travel, time, everything. It's going to depend on a million variables.
Right.
But that's our aim, is to go to Chicago or Houston next year. But yeah, it was an exciting trip, and it started out, we drove.
Yes.
Because we're mad bastards. And we drove first to Birmingham on the way too. We kind of did a big loop. We came back a different way. But we went to Birmingham where we saw Nightmare at 3008, right outside Birmingham.
Right.
It was the only area haunt we could find open on a Thursday.
Right. Now, we did learn about one as we were leaving that was also open, but we didn't learn about it until then. So I don't know why they didn't turn up on searches, but they probably need some marketing advice.
Well, and that's one thing that we did learn on this trip was no matter how much you research haunts in an area, you're going to miss things. So we went to a haunt that showed up on neither of our research.
I know. We got in the area
and found it on accident.
We'll tell that story in a minute.
When we get there, yeah. It's going to be a long hour, guys, and this may actually wind up being a two-parter. If it does,
maybe
I'll break it up.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I may even get it in one. But anyways, so Nightmare at 3008 is it's a fairly rural Birmingham area haunt. It's outside the city. And it is a very much full contact haunt.
Right. It's in Fulton, correct?
Yeah, Fulton, I believe it was, yes. Fulton Dale, I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much a full contact haunt. We spoke with the owner before going in.
Right.
And basically we were warned that they were going to be very aggressive with the touching and the grabbing and the pulling and the coiffing of hair and other things. And basically we were warned about that, and they were indeed very, very aggressive going through it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really there was a lot about that haunt I actually did like. The set design was really, really good.
Yeah.
There were some places, a lot of rooms there where they had two actors working together very, very well to do a two-person distract startle.
Right.
Which I thought was pretty good. It was kind of, your 2x4 technology haunt, as I like to call it. Mm-hmm. The sets were good, but they weren't, like what we see at like 13th Gate, or for example, what we see later in Netherworld or elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, they were. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And it was also the first place we saw something that would become a staple of this trip.
Right.
The whiteout fog room.
Yes. And this was something that most of the haunts had.
I think nearly all, but we did something that flatly does not exist in the New Orleans area that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I haven't
we haven't been
anywhere here
to Rise or House of Shock this year. Those visits are upcoming.
Right. I've heard from others that House of Shock hasn't changed much this year.
So I don't think they're going to wind up making that drastic of a change. But basically, if you've never seen a whiteout maze, what you do is you fill an area up with fog.
Yeah.
You put in either very bright or strobe lights.
Right.
So you can't really see. You're blinded functionally.
Yeah.
And you have people try to find their way out. And
the other way to do that is with white sheets, because we did see that version of it too.
But the most common was with the fog.
Yes.
And that was a little frustrating because it seemed like they were trying to trigger either asthma or photosensitivity or both at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, and that's my thing about Nightmare 3008. If you have any kind of sensitivity issues, don't go.
Yeah.
Just flatly do not go. It is not a safe haunt for you. It's not a haunt for you. I would not recommend it. But yeah, of all the haunts we did on this trip, it was by far the most full contact.
Yeah, and it was interesting. And if you don't have those problems, do go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Definitely do go and check them out. But
the one thought I had, though, going through it, and the one thing I would suggest looking forward into it, is basically that every actor basically was a touch actor.
Yeah.
Everybody touched, everybody grabbed. And when the first actor does it, it's uncomfortable. When the second actor does it, it's a little less uncomfortable. By the time the fourth actor's doing it, you're expecting it.
Yeah.
And by the time the fifth actor doesn't do it, you're disappointed because...
Well, and that's something that we see in a lot of haunts, especially a lot of haunts without good actor managers, is that the same scare happens with every actor. Every actor does the same thing. They just yell or they, in this case, touch. There's not enough variation in the characters.
Yeah. In terms of how they try to scare you.
Right.
Now, they did have one really great sequence where they had an actor high up that you were watching. He was there getting your attention, and the drop panel was the startle beside you.
Right.
That was very effective placement of the two. Mm-hmm. It also had a wrong door sequence where
Right.
you go into a room and the Carney Barker character would lead you into the wrong door and you'd loop around and all this stuff.
Right.
I've seen haunts get shut down over those types of things.
Yeah.
And I know they've worked out their own thing with their own fire marshals.
Right. And
But
basically, that character is their
safety
guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then that's fine. That's great. But I know that, for example, in New Orleans, you could not do that room.
Right.
I know that for certainty. You could not do that room.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting haunt. It's definitely a good experiment. If you are a haunter and you're nearby in that area, I definitely recommend going and checking it out. It's something new. One thing that does, I would suggest to them also, is they said they got the idea from Haunted Hoochie.
Right.
I checked the Haunted Hoochie website.
Yeah.
They very clearly, like, first thing, once you actually install Flash Player, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
But it very clearly says, we are a touch haunt, we are aggressive, you will experience X, Y, and Z, right there, big, bold, red letters on the black background on their website. Nightmare 313. The number keeps increasing every time I say the name.
It's like our haunt sign.
It's like I'm a tobacco auctioneer trying to sell this on right now.
Yeah.
Oh, give me 13,000 an egg. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, the issue there is they don't warn. We had no idea it was full contact until we got there.
Yeah.
And if honestly, if they hadn't warned us on the way in, we probably wouldn't have known. Even when we got in, I didn't see any disclaimers.
No.
So this is something you want to touch because touch on early on
in your advertising,
and very clear. This isn't something you bury in the weird rules that you keep to the side of the ticket booth.
No.
This is something you put up there front and center because there are people who are comfortable in most haunted attractions, but will not be comfortable with that.
Right. I know that whenever we went to Asylum at Rise last year, we went in with several other haunters, and as soon as they said that this was a full contact, they left.
Yeah, like 6 people.
Yeah, just gone.
I don't know what haunt they were with. I couldn't remember.
No.
But they naffed off. They didn't want to deal with it, and I don't blame them.
No.
Because that's a personal choice. I'm okay with it. I live with 2 women. I have no concept of personal space anymore.
Yeah, well, we feel that too.
Yeah. It's part of living in a crowded household.
Yeah.
But anyways, then we went to Atlanta, and our first priority after getting to Atlanta was to see Netherworld.
Yes.
So after dealing with Atlanta Friday evening rush hour traffic, I swear to God, Atlanta, I don't understand how your traffic is that bad.
No.
I just don't.
No.
I don't get it. And the thing about it is this. I grew up in South Carolina. I spent a lot of time in Atlanta as a kid. The traffic was just as bad then. It's been bad for at least 30 years.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
They should be able to find a way to fix that.
Something's got to be done. But anyways, we got to Netherworld, and this was the only haunt, I think, on this trip we bought VIP passes to.
Yes.
And it was because we intended to hit 2 more haunts that night. And even though the line was not long by Netherworld standards, they weren't using the cattle gate system they have off to the side.
Right.
It was long by our standards, as in we're still probably going to wait 30 to 40 minutes to get in this haunt.
Right.
And that's time we could spend going to blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
So we bought VIP. They have 2 attractions there, 2 main attractions. They have a 3D attraction, and they have the Netherworld itself. I don't want to say too much about the 3D one. It was a good 3D attraction. I'm not a huge fan of those personally, and I definitely think they are getting a little bit overdone. It seems like it's something that almost every haunt is setting up.
Yeah.
But I did have fun in it. I mean, it was a good one.
Well,
go ahead.
And I think that the reason is that whenever we go to the 3D ones, that they rely so heavily on the 3D effects to be the scare instead of putting more actors. Because there were definitely fewer actors in that per square foot.
They had and it wasn't that, by the way, it was like skimpy on actors. We don't want to say we walked through empty corridors for days.
No. That was a different haunt.
That was a different haunt. We'll get there. But no, it was, you're right. It did seem less full than Netherworld did. But the main thing I think I learned from that is apparently the people that run Netherworld have this fetish for crushing people.
Yeah.
Like, every room seemed like the walls were trying to collapse on
It
you.
wasn't everyone.
It felt like...
It was like 3 sequences.
That's,
In a small haunt.
didn't feel like half the thing.
Yes.
It was the small attraction. It was fun. I enjoyed it. A lot of fun with the funhouse floors and so forth in there.
Right.
But yeah, but then we went to Netherworld, and I gotta say, I straight up get why Netherworld is one of the top attractions in the country.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. It's it's smartly done.
And the thing about it to me is, going through it, I can tell that this is a 20-plus-year-old haunt.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the design, a lot of the room design, harkens back to older styles.
Right.
You've got these small rooms where almost the entire thing is walking path.
Yeah.
Very little, quote-unquote, prop-based layout, which is a more modern trend we've seen.
Right.
And, we saw something similar in, like, the Darkness in St. Louis, but the difference is, where in the Darkness it was, oh, here's the room, here's your animatronic, get out. Go.
Yeah.
You can go
going.
now.
Yeah.
Keep moving. Here it was, here's the room, here's the animatronic, and by the way, here's your scare, and you don't know where it's coming from. They actually did such a good job, room to room to room, varying the scares.
Right.
You never really knew what was next. It seemed like they at least had a rotation of 5 or 6 good scare types.
Right.
And they mixed it up.
Yeah, varying the scares and using the animatronics as the distraction for the human actor.
And I gotta say that they, I don't know how scared I can say I was, but I got.
You were surprised.
I was surprised because in one room they had this like 30-foot tall. I don't know how tall it actually is. It looked 30 damn feet tall.
It did. It looked that.
It might have only been like 15 feet tall, but it looked 30 feet.
It looked like a big tree.
It was a giant animatronic tree with arms and a mouth that moved and was talking to you. And I'm just in love with this because I grew up at Babes in Toyland, so this is like my childhood here.
Yeah.
And then an actor who is also a tree in the background just comes up and pretty much puts his arm around me. And so, yeah, that was fun. I mean, that was a good example of a varied scare because, the room before that, it had been a drop panel. And before that,
right.
It had been someone popping around a corner.
Or on a bungee cord, popping off the wall. And they had people in the sky coming down over
Someone high-fived me as I reached up to mess with a laser tunnel. That was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they really varied the scares and the direction of attack. You never really knew what was coming next. And another thing I liked is that even though they had a lot of new style scares, they had the projections, for example. They had some LCD panels. They had a lot of newer stuff.
Right.
And they obviously had their animatronics or pneumatics. They still kept a lot of the old school stuff.
Right.
I mean, your scare in this room could be, a complicated apparatus that drops an actor into the room and whatever. Or it could just be a guy banging on a piece of sheet metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a prop. It literally.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, the projections were used to decorate scenes. They weren't used as scares, which we've seen that done in other haunts.
Yeah, they used it to fill out rooms, I think is one way to say it. They used a projection, for example, on a back wall to simulate, like, a night sequence at one point.
Yeah.
With ghosts coming out of the ground. And in, like, an occult room, they used it to fill up the area above your head.
Right.
So it looked like ghosts were rising from that. It was a good use of projections where it wasn't like, hey, look, this projection, isn't it cool? Let it scare you. It was, these are the backgrounds. This fills the environment with more emotion and makes you more uncertain where the scare is coming from. And God, Netherworld was just absolute brilliance. Though I do have to say, I understand why they're leaving.
Yeah.
Because that location sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. The haunt is amazing with that location sucks. They are surrounded by furniture stores.
Yes.
And there ain't no parking except for parking at these furniture stores, and they've all taken up to charging $10 or more for parking, and it's just absolutely insane. So yeah, I understand their decision to get out of Dodge, and I think more space might actually help them because I don't know if I want them to refresh the design too much because it was so good, but I can see how they might want to.
Yeah, and they definitely used all the square footage that they had.
Yeah, they definitely were using everything they got.
At least it seemed that
yeah,
way.
I agree.
For customers.
So, great time at Netherworld. Just cannot say enough good things about it. We actually had an extended conversation. Do we like it or 13th Gate better?
Right.
And if you know us and how much we love 13th Gate, that's an amazing thing. For that even to be a conversation.
Right.
It's impressive. So, yeah. All in all, great time on that. Just absolutely amazing. A textbook study in how to haunt effectively, how to vary your scares, how to do things like, change your settings and change your rooms and get people guessing.
Right.
Get people really unsure. We had a group and we had a pair in front of us that were pretty scaredy cats.
Yeah.
And they got pops in just about every room, it seemed like.
Yeah, and so did the teenage girls behind us when they caught up to us. So
they were getting popped in just about every room, and that was an amazing percentage.
Yeah.
And so from there, we barreled out of there. After, by the way, real fast, on Netherworld, we also did the Operation game.
Yes.
Crystal kicked my ass. There's just no nice way to say that. She totally whooped me. I think it was 3-0.
Yeah.
So, I suck. And then we did the escape room, the 3-minute escape room they had, and we totally aced that fist bump, bam! Oh yeah, I'm now Guy Fieri.
That was fun, and it's also the only mini escape room that we've played so far that has had a voice of God in it.
Yeah.
Which was really helpful.
And it was really funny because we got out with like 40 seconds to spare, I think it was. It was high, upper 30s, it was close to 40. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we got out, and we were wearing our Haunt Weekly t-shirts because we were trying to introduce ourselves to people and give out cards and promote the podcast some.
Right.
We're trying to promote this.
Yes.
And so she's like, yeah, I took one look at the shirts. I had a feeling you guys would be all right in there.
Yeah.
Because the group before us apparently tanked.
Yeah.
And it was actually a surprisingly difficult escape room. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we got out of that. A-okay, hunky-dory. So yeah, I do recommend the mini escape room there. I have not tried the bigger ones at Netherworld yet. But yeah, that was a really, really good time all around. Netherworld, I see why it has earned its place. I do not dispute that at all. There are other haunts I've been to that are on the top 10s and all that stuff that I do dispute.
Right.
But not Netherworld. Netherworld gets all the credit for being amazing.
Yep.
Then we went to Paranoia, which is another haunt that was on a lot of regional lists, and we were told we had to check out.
Right.
And
it was 2 attractions, Paranoia and Slaughterhouse.
And Slaughterhouse. And the problem, I think we did Slaughterhouse first.
We did. Because there was nobody in line for Paranoia, so we didn't know it was a door we were supposed to go in.
Yeah, we didn't know which door to go in, honestly. It's just the truth. But yeah, Slaughterhouse is a cannibal-themed attraction. It was alright. I mean, I really don't know what to say about it. And I think, honestly, Paranoia suffers a little bit from what we saw at Nightmare at 3008, where they didn't vary the scares.
Right.
Every room, every sequence, it was the same scare.
Right.
It was, hey, I'm creepy, I'm chopping up bodies.
Yeah.
You're next, basically.
Yeah.
Some variation of that. And yeah, that's good to have. You need to have that type of thing.
Everybody was really nice and wanted us for dinner, though.
Yeah, I know. They really did. So many people invited us. It was crazy.
I know.
So yeah, I think the lesson we got from the first couple of days was about varying scares.
Right.
Varying your method of attack. Because Paranoia and the main haunt had the same problem.
Yeah.
They had actors working multiple scares, but they were doing the same thing at every spot.
Yep.
Like, this actor has a gas can with rocks in it. Fine. We've seen that in, like, The Abyss and Limp Brewery and all that. It can be a very powerful scare. Does it in one room, and we went with that one with a real scaredy cat group.
Yeah.
A family that, all 4 of them, big chickens. Mm-hmm. Hit him with it once. Family pops, damn near hits the floor. Go around the scene, go around, blah, 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 come back to the second point. He does it again. Family barely reacts. Hits him a 3rd time with it around the next corner. They don't move at all.
Yeah.
By that time, it's totally worn off. So they go into a new sequence. Now we're doing like a light with an air hose type thing that they used a few times in a row. And that, like I said, really good pop the first time. 2nd and 3rd time lessened. And so, yeah, that was the lesson I picked up from those haunts, especially like Nightmare, that first run of haunts.
Right.
Was vary your damn scares.
Yeah.
And we went...
Obviously, Netherworld excluded from that.
Well, yeah, and that's the difference. That's why, like, every room in Netherworld got a reaction.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't just the hype. Paranoia...
And not only that, but they were also targeting different areas of the group. Because it didn't matter where you were in line, you were eventually going to get got.
Yeah. And, I mean, they targeted me a few times. They targeted you.
Yeah.
And it was... Yeah, Paranoia has this down to... I think that's more than anything what Paranoia has done that's impressive. They've not only built impressive sets and impressive scares and some great animatronics, they've figured out how to vary their scares and vary their targeting to the point that no point does the haunt feel dull.
Yeah.
We did that whole 17-minute walkthrough. I was not bored or waiting for the next thing for a single minute.
Right. Yeah,
it was the 17 most action-packed minutes of haunting I've had in a long time.
Yeah, Netherworld was on point with that.
Okay, and our final night, the first night was, the second night now technically, I guess, first night in Atlanta, was a little haunt called Folklore that was nearby. We heard about this one, and it was kind of exactly what I want a mid-tier haunt to be. We talked a few times about how mid-tier haunts are dying out. They're becoming a rare breed. Folklore is an excellent example of a good mid-tier haunt. They bought some kind of fire station or school. Some kind of...
Yeah, to me it looks like a fire station because I think that one of the areas was a burn room to practice the burns. Yeah. The fire things.
Regardless, went through it. They had 3 attractions there. They had the Manor, they had Tremulous, and they had a 3D attraction, which once again... So
that one was for kids.
That one was aimed at kids. But it was hilarious because if you buy the combo ticket, which if you're going to do the Manor and Tremulous, you're going to get the combo ticket. Because the Manor plus Tremulous is $26 by themselves, and the 3D attraction is $8. But the combo ticket for all 3 is $25.
Yeah.
You're going to get the combo ticket. Just freaking go.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that's good marketing because you're giving something that people aren't going to want this.
By itself.
They'll probably buy this with all 3.
It is good marketing. I can't deny that. Real fast, we'll discuss them out of order horribly. The 3D haunt of that one, it was hilarious for me because I put on the glasses, I walk in around the first corner, and the first sign I see is French Quarter Phantoms.
Yep.
I'm like, motherfucker! I drove how far?
Yeah.
God damn it!
Everybody wants to be New Orleans.
Everybody. It's like the time we drove to Key West all over again.
Yeah.
Drive 1,900 goddamn miles, get to Key West, and the first thing you see is Bourbon Street Pub, French Quarter daiquiris, and...
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, so... It was fun. I did like how they combined actual 3D stuff like brickwork with the 3D paint to make it really pop and really make that illusion great. So they did some neat stuff with it.
Right, and we did talk to the owners, and they said that the reason that they chose French Quarter was because they didn't want to do clowns because every 3D thing does clowns.
And I have a hard time arguing that point.
Right. And I was just thinking about it, like, just now. If they had done a French Quarter cemetery, that would have been really cool for them.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah.
And there are things you can do with it that I think would be really cool. But yeah, the Manor was the actor-driven haunt.
Yes.
It was good sets, actors, some very, very passionate actors in there.
Yeah, the sets overall in all of the attractions were just gorgeous.
Yeah.
To me.
They were good. They were great. I did enjoy the sets and the set design, but the first one, Manor, was almost entirely actor-driven, which was a lot of fun. And the second one, Tremulous, was almost entirely animatronic-driven.
Yep.
It was the show... he said they had like 47, and I don't dispute him.
No.
I know I didn't count 47, but I'm also not going to claim to have seen everything.
Yeah.
So it's entirely believable. I know I saw over 30.
Yeah.
You know? So... Yeah, and there were some really, really cool ones in there. So yeah, it's fun. It's out of the way, but it's got a good price point, $25 for all 3.
Yep. And
it's a good example. I think what they've really done that's genius is the marketing and the pricing of it. You don't feel bad or ripped off about it. They managed to they set their expectations well. Right. They didn't hype themselves up as being something they're not. They offered a fair price. Yeah. And I enjoyed the experience.
Yeah.
So that's really it. I mean,
I love their outdoor characters.
Yes, they did have some very good outdoor front of house characters. Also, they had the last ride coffin attraction, which I've seen at several places.
Right.
I had never done it before, But I had 5 ones in my pocket and a couple of minutes to kill because this was the last haunt we were doing that night.
Right.
So I did it. I gotta say, it did not suck nearly as bad as I expected. I have seen it like at about a dozen other haunts we've been to. And I've always gone, that's lame. I'm not going to do that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But I finally broke down and did it. And you know what? It's actually okay.
Yeah.
it tells a decent story. It uses aromatics. It uses lights. It uses motion. It actually is pretty darn cool, actually. If you're claustrophobic, obviously this is a terrible idea, but I'm the opposite of whatever's claustrophobic. That lid comes down, it's like 11:30 at night. I've been on the road all damn day. And my first thought was, okay, I'm just going to go to sleep during the attraction now. And, oh, crap, it's vibrating.
Yeah. There's stuff going on.
There's stuff going on. So after that, we made our way to bed, and then we attempted the easy day.
Yes.
We're only going to do 2 haunts this day, we said.
Right.
We're going to go to Containment and Nightmare's Gate. Then we're going to go back. We're going to go to bed early. We're going to get a good night's rest. Then hit 2 more the next day so we can go home bright and oily.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen. None of that crap. Well, I mean, part of it happened. The first part of it did. We did go to Containment and Nightmare's Gate.
Yes. In that order.
Yes.
So we went to Containment, and it was really interesting. They did have a whiteout maze. They used the sheets for theirs, which I much prefer because I have a little bit of a problem with concentrated fog. It was character driven, really good actors with backstories, stayed in character, played along with the customers.
The 2 things I found interesting about Containment was, one is that it was built almost entirely with shipping crates and pallets.
Yeah, shipping containers.
Shipping containers and pallets. So, mostly scrap. And they still managed to eke out some sets that were far better than what I just said you should expect.
Yeah, it's the only place where I have seen a person playing the piano in a haunt. Yes,
actually playing the piano. Though I have to say, this was probably home on my favorite actual character on this trip, which was the Doctor.
Yes.
The musically theater-inclined Doctor.
Yes.
He was amazing, and he was engaging, and he was fun. And that was the thing about Containment, was that it was scene-driven. It wasn't really all about the startles.
Right.
Not a lot of boo-gotchas in this.
No.
But it was very, very, very character-driven. You interact with people. It was a bit more like, I think, like Asylum at Rise. We talked about that, and that essence of you flow from scene to scene. And while there are free-roam portions, you still have a lot of scenes that you are stopped and held in.
Right.
And, I don't know, it's a very different style of haunting, but very, very effective. And it gave a decent runtime, and it was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was something very different than what we had seen the night before. It was
right. I would have liked to have seen it had all of their actors been there, because they were down a few people. Well, we talked to some of the people afterwards, and so they were saying that some of the spots we mentioned, there were supposed to be actors there, but they weren't.
Yeah. Well, then we moved to Nightmare's Gate. And Nightmare's Gate, to me, was a haunt. I don't like crawling.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I don't like crawling. I don't like mazes. I don't like that stuff. Though I did have to say, we had a funny moment in one of the mazes.
Yeah.
Because they stuck us in a tart maze. And I thought we sucked at it. I didn't think we did a very good job.
Yeah.
We used our haunter's instinct. We looked for light leaks. We looked for clues that maybe like normies wouldn't recognize.
Right.
But I still thought we sucked. We were in there for what seemed like way too long. It felt long. And then we got out, and then I hear the rustling behind me. I'm like, great, we were in there so goddamn long, the group behind us is caught up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no, it was actually the group ahead of us.
Right.
We had somehow passed them in the maze.
Well, they had gotten lost somewhere way over to the left of us whenever we found the exit. And I think the only reason they got out was because whenever we opened the exit, it let the light in, and they saw it.
Yeah, they came right after
really
we...
think
they were right on our heels after we got out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nightmare's Gate is frustrating for me because I really love their scenes.
Yeah, I love their scenes.
I love their props.
The swamp scene with the acrobatic actor in the corset was really nice. They had saw blades in the ceiling that come down at different heights. And
yeah, they had a lot of really cool visuals.
Yeah.
And then the scenes were separated by mazes, by passages you had to squeeze through, passages you had to crawl through.
Yeah.
And it's weird for me because what I learned, and I didn't realize this would be the case, is that when I look back on it now, what I remember, like 90% of my memory is occupied by the maze parts. Right.
Having to crawl, having to squeeze through walls.
And they did all this wonderful work. And it's not in the forefront of my mind.
Right. Yeah, I actually had to forget that, put that on the side, and try to remember the actual scenes.
Yeah.
And it took some effort to do that because they were so distracting. Because I'm not a small person, so squeezing through those tight areas, and I know it's designed to make you feel uncomfortable and lost. I get that, but it's just not fun.
Yeah.
I like fun.
Well, and it's like they put so much work into those scenes.
Right.
So much work. And the actors were very good, too.
Yeah.
Let's give them props. They were great. It's just, it sucks that I can barely remember them now.
Right.
It sucks. Like, I think of Nightmare's Gate, I immediately think of crawling.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing. Even if you enjoy crawling, that's going to be the thing that stands out because it's the most unusual.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. So much work went into that haunt, and I remember so little of it, and I'm sorry about that. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, after that, we tried to get ourselves murdered. Because you found a haunt on Facebook.
No, I did a Google search for haunted houses nearby. The same search we'd done, when we were in New Orleans.
Yeah.
But now we were actually in the town.
Yeah.
And found Freaks of Fear.
And basically, we followed the GPS to it, and we got to where they had like a hearse and had some stuff to indicate where you're supposed to turn off the road.
Right.
And then we get into this, what looks like a VFW armory or something.
Yeah.
Get into this area, and we can't find the damn haunt.
Nope.
And so we go, we roam around the armory, we think about crashing the really crappy party that was going on inside it, but opt against it.
Yeah.
We thought better of that. And we get back on the main road, and we look up this grass hill.
Yeah.
Into the woods, and we see circus tents and Halloween lights.
Yes, I'm like, those are Halloween lights. We need to go that way.
And I'm like, go up the grass hill in this car after a rain?
Yeah.
Are you bonkers?
Apparently, because we did.
And the long and short of it is, it was basically a, because we're running short on time, I know, but it was a trail haunt that you go in after we spoke with the owner, spoke with the people that run it, and we go into an initial staging area where we interacted with some of the characters, and they basically told us a story that they're a circus troupe, and the freaks in them all had a wild party with a little too much booze.
Yeah.
And many of the freaks ran into the woods, and we had to go find them.
Exactly, and ask them to come back.
And so we did. We said, basically, get out there, asshole.
Yeah, basically, when we come across an actor, we say, hey, they're looking for you back there.
Which is, I think, is actually what you're supposed to do.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it was a trail haunt, and it was not a particularly long one.
Right.
And there's not really a lot to comment on build or anything. But I gotta say,
except for the one thing.
Yeah, there's one thing, and it's only, and that's just it. This is like the antithesis of Nightmare's Gate in a weird way.
Right.
Because Nightmare's Gate had all this amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And all we can remember when we talk about it now is the crawling in the maze. Where this one, it was mostly just traipsing through the woods.
Right.
But they had one awesome thing that we can't shut up about.
Yeah.
And it was basically like this bird type thing.
A bird ghost thing.
Plane.
It was an object.
It was an object.
It was a UFO.
That started out like 30 feet in the air and swooped down over you. And they timed it goddamn perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, whoosh, and I fucking ducked. I'm not going to lie. I ducked like a bitch. I'm not going to even try to hide it. I was all I could do not to go prone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it swoops down, and I look up after it stops, and because I'm 6 feet tall, I look up and go, oh, that's got to be at least 9 feet in the air. But from the way it came down from that high and the way it swooped, you would have sworn to God it was going to crash right into you.
Right.
It was such a convincing moment.
And it was gigantic.
It was huge. And it was so well timed, so well done. Yeah, it was incredible. And like I said, that's all we've been able to talk about Freaks of Fear. You know, we'll ignore the fact that, you know, there weren't, all the actor slots weren't filled.
Right.
And I think we were the only customers there.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was obviously if we didn't find it before we got to the area, there's a marketing issue.
Yeah.
And
it's also a rainy night.
It was a rainy night, so a lot of the trail haunts had closed.
Yeah. In fact, 2 we were looking at going to had closed.
Right.
Bear the Woods and Chaos had both closed. We weren't able to go to them on this trip, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But my God, we that one moment, that it's such a weird thing because
up until that point was just like, okay, this is
interesting.
nice.
It's amusing. It's fun. It wasn't much money.
Yeah.
It's $15. We weren't like upset or anything, but it just didn't seem like, it seemed very forgettable. Yeah. And then it's like, well, now we're raving. It's like,
yeah.
So yeah, that was just how that one shook out. And then we went to Camp Blood.
Right.
Because we're lunatics and we're driving now an hour away from our hotel at 11 o'clock in the...
It was gonna be closed on Sunday.
I know. But dear God, do you know how stupid this sounds to normal people?
Well, yeah, but those aren't our listeners, so we're good.
Touchy.
Touche.
But yeah, Camp Blood is another trail haunt.
Yeah.
Way out in the wilderness. Now, we're getting very far afield of Atlanta here. And they've been around for about 20 plus years, and it's a charity haunt too, is one thing I learned while we were there. I did not actually know that going there.
No.
But I've got to say, and I was very skeptical of this one, especially when we got there and there was no one manning the ticket booth.
Right.
And especially after we had to park about half a mile up the road. It felt like it was probably closer to a quarter of a mile, but it felt... When you're walking down a dark country road at 11 o'clock at night, any distance feels like half a mile.
Right. Well, we didn't realize that you could park on the side of the road next to it whenever there was a big thing that said Camp Blood parking.
Yeah.
So
this might be a Netherworld type situation here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the haunt itself was very, very scary. It's like the complete opposite of like Containment.
Right.
Where Containment was all about the characters and the stories and the scenes. This one was all about just finding new ways to mess with you and scare you. They had characters. They had a few people who talked to you and messed and did things with you. But for the most part, it was people jumping out.
Well, and it was the wrong direction, too. Yeah. And there
was a lot of misdirection in that.
Yeah.
There was one, and I feel bad for one of their chainsaw guys. I feel horrible. Yeah. Because we'd gotten separated from our group.
Yeah, well, the first chainsaw guy came out, and they took off.
Yeah, we went in with
we didn't
4
see them again.
Teenagers, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they were walking in front of us, and we were kind of trying to keep up with them. They were moving pretty good.
Yeah.
But this first guy pops out, and he hits right the middle of the group, like you're supposed to. Perfect timing. Comes out, those 4 just whoosh. I don't think I could have kept up with them if I tried.
No, we didn't even see them in the staging area afterwards, and you should spend a minute talking about the staging area.
Yeah, we'll get back there in a minute. I do want to get back there, you're right.
Yeah.
So that happened. But the chainsaw guy, there was a wrong direction bit where you're supposed to, they funnel you deliberately the wrong way where it's a dead end with the chainsaw guy. And I'm just walking, traipsing through the haunt, and round, and then the chainsaw guy, and he gets to me, and he's like, and he's supposed to be scaring you backwards. So you go, and then they moved a panel or something, and now you can get out. But it's like I keep telling people, I've been around so many bladeless chainsaws over the years, I can't be trusted with a real one.
Yeah.
So he's like, and he gets really mad. I don't really, not really mad, but like frustrated. And like he holds it so close to my face, I get like a face full of fumes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then he's like, go that way.
Yeah. It's like, read the wall. There was an arrow on the wall saying turn around.
Yeah, and I just...
Which I didn't see because I was, too busy
But there's
looking.
lots of arrows on the wall saying turn around.
Yeah, I know, and wrong way. Which,
yeah, exactly. It's a one thing. But yeah, I mean, the staging area was really, really cool. I love the way they handle queues. They did have a warning that their queues later in season can get really long. It wasn't bad for us. We literally only had 6 people.
Right.
In the haunt at all. What they do is you buy your ticket, and then you go into this area, this like large bullpen area.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fair.
Kind of like a fair. It's got carnival games. It's got a gift shop. It's got an ATM. It's got a psychic reader, and there's something else I know I'm forgetting, but it's got stuff you can do. And the idea is you mill around this area while you wait to go into the haunt, and then they call the letter on your ticket, and then you go in.
Yeah.
And that's really, really cool. And it's kind of funny because it reminded me a lot of the Newcastle airport, where they do this with flights.
Right.
And I hated it in Newcastle, but I did not mind it here for some reason. I'm not sure what made it different.
Maybe because it was a haunt,
or maybe
and you wanted to be there.
Or maybe it was because, like, with an airport, like if I'm way early for my flight, I can just roam around the airport,
right,
and find things. I have the freedom to move around the cabin, so to speak. Where in Newcastle's like, no, you are confined to this food court.
Yeah.
At one end of the airport.
Yeah.
You cannot escape.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was the last haunt of that night. We finally went back home. We got home at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And we got up the next morning, and the whole thing was we wanted to hit one more haunt.
Right.
That was on the way home, and then basically we stopped at like Montgomery. And the haunt we hit was 13 stories. And I think we should do actually kind of a whole episode on them. We're already technically a little bit over time. But I don't care. It's not a set-length podcast.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep it reasonable. But basically, with 13 stories, their main attraction was very, very animatronic driven.
Right.
And they had a lot of really cool effects. Like every room had like 2 or 3 animatronic things going on. Like pneumatics that were like rattling doors or cabinets and things. Great background stuff.
Really right, lots of small things.
Really, a lot of great small but time-consuming details that filled the scene nicely.
Right.
And then almost no actors to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And I think, and you've said this too, that they might be spreading themselves too thin.
Yeah, I think so, because there are actually 3 attractions. There's the main haunt, which you just described. There's zombie paintball, which is a lot of fun.
No, zombie laser tag, not paintball.
Zombie laser tag, sorry. Laser tag. It's different. I don't feel bad about shooting the zombies because they're not getting hurt by lasers.
Yeah, I wish there had been like a competitive element to the laser tag where you could have gotten like a scorecard or something.
Or maybe kill all the zombies and then they're dead.
There's a win or lose scenario, something, anything. But basically, it's you roam around, you shoot zombies, you run out of ammo, you give the gun back.
Yep. Or you don't run out of ammo and you give the gun back.
Well, because, you got touched, and you got touched because I ran out of ammo suddenly.
Yeah.
And apparently zombies recognize the gun over the head symbol.
Yeah.
Which that changes the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it does.
Anyways, so that was a lot of fun.
Well, technically I got touched on the way to give the gun back, so.
Yeah. It's a bit convoluted. But yeah, it was a fun attraction. I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
And then we did the extreme haunt, the sacrifice.
Right. Which was you get in line, you're blindfolded, your hands are bound with rags. And then they talk about how taking away your sight, your most precious sense, is scary. And
I'll say this, they did a good job building up anticipation.
Yeah.
Of it, because it was almost ritualistic, the blindfolding, the tying. That was very, very good. In the first room where they're talking about this is your choice, you're losing your sight, you're volunteering for this.
Right. Don't fight back or you'll be pulled out.
Yeah, basically, I'm sitting there thinking, God damn it, I'm an idiot. What the hell did I do?
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't want to give too many spoilers on it, but it was not that... 3008, Nightmare 3008 was much more full contact than this.
Yes.
I really don't think it was that extreme. It was a different experience.
Right.
I'm not sad I did it, and I would recommend others, especially haunters, do it. But I got to say, it's very interesting that someone built a haunt that they don't have to decorate.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's clever.
It is.
So... We're already over time, but screw that. We're going to spend a few minutes. We said this isn't going to be a review episode, and we just kind of accidentally reviewed everything.
Well, yeah, you did that.
Sorry. I didn't really want it to be, but you know what? In order to talk about this intellectually, even just for a few minutes, you have to understand, what happened.
Right.
What were some of the things you noticed that were consistent across the haunts in Atlanta
Well,
that we went to?
We've already talked about the whiteout mazes.
Yeah.
There was a heavier use of strobe lights overall. The actors having the same scare in a lot of them.
Yeah.
I did like the varied amount or tiers of haunts in the area.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Netherworld at the top, and then you've got several medium tiers, and then a couple of lower tier haunts, which is really nice to see, especially that close together.
Yeah, that's something we don't get a lot of in, like, New Orleans, for example. And I don't know if it's just, like, purely a population thing, where, like, the larger population of Atlanta can support a greater variety of haunts, and I don't know if that's necessarily true, because most of these haunts are way outside Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they would have a couple of haunts within 30 minutes of each other, but way outside, like an hour outside of the city, and expect everyone from the neighboring towns to come out, and they did.
Yeah, they did. And it worked. One thing I noticed that I saw a lot of in Atlanta was playing around with floors. Yeah. We don't see a lot of that here in New Orleans. But basically there were, even if it was like subtle details, like I remember one of my favorite points in the slaughterhouse was there was a room you went into where it had a beam floor, but the beams were just a little bit loose. Yeah. So they had just like the tiniest amount of noticeable give. Right. It was perceptible, but not dangerous in any way. Right. But it added an effect. It made you believe that this could be a rickety old house a little bit. Right. And we saw a lot of stuff like that, and also like vibrating the floors and in Netherworld, we saw that, and it fit the scene. Yeah. And they did a couple where they shook the whole room. Right. And it really fit the scene pretty well too. They used that as a means of setting the scene. That was something I noticed over and over again in Atlanta as well. And that was very immersive. Yeah, that was a good addition. Yeah, it was very interesting because, like I said, Atlanta haunts typically, from what I'm seeing, are different from New Orleans haunts. Based on, like I said, the tiers. You know, you have the big kahuna in the neighborhood, right? But you also have an entire ecosystem of smaller haunts. Yeah. That you don't get in a lot of other places. Yeah, I mean, here we've got several big haunts, but not any medium or small tier. Not enough. I'd agree. But yeah, I mean, and there was definitely a lot of variance in the style and approach of these haunts. Right. Many of them were narrative driven. Some of them were purely scare driven. Like Netherworld didn't have a story that I could discern. No. If they did, I didn't get it. Yeah. But like Containment and so forth did. Right. And I will say that at least two of the haunts had in their gift shops things specific to the haunt that were not t-shirts. And I bought some. Because, we've said on this podcast before, we wish that more haunts would do that. In fact, I've got a doll from Camp Blood that's all messed up and stuff that I'm going to put on display on a shelf year round. Because I can't wear a t-shirt year round, but I can put that out. Well, I can wear a t-shirt year round, but not like to the office. They're fine with the bloody doll, though. Yeah. Funny. But yeah, all in all, it was a very different experience. And I've got to say I enjoyed it a great deal. Everyone in Atlanta was so welcoming and so wonderful. Right. And, no one had a crossword for us at all. No. Everybody was just wonderful. Yeah. Several people stopped us and asked us for our honest opinions. Mm-hmm. So they know pretty much what we're going to say here. And if you got our honest opinion in line, you've pretty much heard everything we've said here and then some. Right. So nothing should come as a surprise. But yeah, I mean, it's just... And every haunt, I think, did at least certain things very, very well. Yeah. There were no just bad haunts, which I have seen just bad haunts. Yeah. No, I didn't get that from any of them either. No. There was no, like, Bulow Fun Park. Remember that crap? Or The Revelation.
Yeah, the revelation was, I think,
where
worse than Bulow.
It was just a turd hanging out there, and oh God, there's nothing like that. Everyone had things they did exceptionally well, and moments of wonderment. I don't feel like any of them ripped me off or anything like that.
Right.
I don't feel like I got robbed by any stretch. All in all, it was a good trip. A lot of interesting ideas. I'm looking forward to maybe bringing some of them to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, that's the overview of the haunts we went to in Atlanta. I know I said in the beginning this won't be a review one, and we review-ish things. But it's more of a retrospective than a review, I guess. Yeah,
it is more of a retrospective. The only one that you said don't go to would be because of health issues. Yeah. So...
And I think I said that about 2, actually. Nightmare's Gate and Nightmare at 3008. If you have health issues that prevent you from, in the case of Nightmare at 3008, photosensitivity and or touch sensitivity, like personal space issues, don't go. And Nightmare's Gate, if crawling and squeezing through things is not comfortable, don't go.
Yep. But otherwise, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
it's worthwhile.
I would recommend every single one of these haunts to at least somebody.
Yeah.
Including the sacrifice.
Yeah.
So, there are people I would recommend absolutely every single one of these haunts to. It's just different people get different recommendations. Because everybody likes different things.
Right.
And that I think is the best part about Atlanta is the variety.
Yeah.
No matter what type of haunt you're into, you can find a haunt that speaks to you.
Yep.
That sum it up nicely?
It does.
Well, on that note, everyone, we are late on this one. It's going to be over an hour episode, but it's okay. Once again, take a moment. Follow us on Twitter at Haunt Weekly. Follow us on Facebook at Haunt Weekly. We are also on YouTube at tinyurl.com/Haunt Weekly. Give us a subscribe there, please, pretty please. We appreciate it. Catch up on old episodes there. Some of them seem to roll off iTunes and so forth. So everything's there. Good luck. Catch up there. No problem. But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Haunt Weekly episode number 98, talking about our trip to the Atlanta Haunted Houses. We will see you guys next time.